News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288 WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. So, before I get into the Harris interview, just a few more quick points on the new report from Secret Service whistleblowers. The lady in charge of the field office and the lady in charge of site management for the Butler, PA rally did not pass one of the tests that you must pass to become a Secret Service agent, but they still gave her the job and promoted her anyways. This must have been part of that whole directive by Joe Biden's hire for Cheadle as the director. She pledged to do diversity, equity, inclusion more than anything by having one-third of all women hired on the Secret Service. Clearly, it appears regardless of their qualifications, and that leads to presidents dying or almost dying. Now a second assassination attempt, as we know. The only training they got, as I mentioned before, was on a Microsoft 2-hour meeting that was plagued with errors. It was pre-recorded. Law enforcement was supposed to be stationed on the rooftop where the terrorist was that shot Trump. However, the post was abandoned because it was too hot. Secret Service denied multiple offers from local law enforcement partners to deploy drone technology to help secure the rally, despite the fact that the terrorist shooter had used a drone to survey the site hours before Trump was up there. Secret Service Counter and Surveillance Division, which performs threat assessments of sites before an event's occurrence, did not perform its typical evaluation on the Butler Fairgrounds, nor were they present on the day of the rally. Had they been there, the gunman would have been handcuffed in the parking lot upon being spotted with a rangefinder. The Secret Service site lead agent responsible for mitigating line-of-sight concerns at the Butler rally was known to lack competence and experience in the role. This lead site agent personally made decisions that likely compromised overall security of the event. For example, the campaign materials such as flags were permitted. Campaign materials such as flags were permitted to be placed around the stage and catwalk used by Trump, though those items were usually prohibited because of how they affected the line of sight of agents tasked with identifying threats. Contrary to practice, the Secret Service did not check IDs when issuing credentials that authorized access to the site's restricted areas. Secret Service officials preemptively informed Pittsburgh field office that the Butler rally was not going to receive additional security resources because Trump is a former president, not the incumbent or vice president. Also, numerous questions left unanswered. Josh Hawley, who got this report out from the whistleblowers, who within the Secret Service or DHS made the decision to deny counter-sniper coverage to the rooftop for which the terrorist shooter shot former President Trump on July 13th. When will the Secret Service or DHS publicly name the lead site agent for the rally, lead agent for the rally, and the lead agent for the Butler visit? Did the U.S. acting Secret Service director ever deny resources to the Trump campaign or U.S. Secret Service counter-sniper teams, as it had been reported in the press? So, again, some other ones that I shared earlier. The lead agent responsible for Trump's Butler visit, including the campaign rally, failed a key examination during federal law enforcement training to become a Secret Service agent. Secret Service intelligence units, which are teams of Secret Service agents paired with the state and local law enforcement personnel to handle reports of suspicious persons, were absent from the Butler rally. Hospital site where Trump received treatment after the shooting was poorly secured. Agent on site could not answer basic questions about site security. A majority of DHS agents working the rally were unfamiliar with the standard security protocols used at campaign events. And that's why you had a second assassination attempt. And that's why I believe you're going to have a third. And I swear to you, they're going to let it keep going until they get the job done, quote unquote. And Trump will not stop. And he will not hide. All right, we'll take one more call on this. Then we're going to get into Kamala Harris's disaster for her second interview. Did you know that short 11-minute and almost like 11 and a half minute interview was edited short? They edited out some of the disaster. Do you know that guy that was doing the interview was with a local ABC affiliate? I want to check to see if that ABC affiliate is owned and operated by ABC. It very likely is at that size of a market. If it is, then you know the control of the head of ABC was over all that too. Kamala's bestie is president of ABC. Jerry in Burleson, you're on WBAP at 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. I'm asking, do you feel Trump is not getting adequate protection from the Secret Service, and why?
Yeah, I don't believe he is. But what I asked your screener was if you knew whether he's allowed to hire his own bodyguards along with the Secret Service.
I think he does have his own personal, private, hired protectors, bodyguards, etc. But I do know that the Secret Service has, in any of these agencies, have a specific protocol. And I don't know if he allows, if they're allowed to work with each other, and if they do, in what capacity. It could be such that that Trump trusts the people around him that are with the Secret Service to be in charge of it, and that they say, sorry, we really have to do this separately. I mean, both of these questions have been about the perimeter, not the inner area. But at this point, I thought about that today. I mean, he's got to get some people on his own team. And
I supposedly was talking to somebody who worked with him as a part advisor and part setup man. And I don't know if the guy was legit or anything, but he had pictures and everything, and he seemed legit as far as, actually working with Trump. But he was off that day, and I just happened to meet him. And he said that Trump had hired some past Secret Service agents there that loved him, that
I wouldn't be surprised.
Cared about him.
Yeah.
And actually, he hired them to be on his team now. But so I'm wondering if they were the ones that actually took the shots at the assassin. But,
at the attempted assassin in Florida. Yeah. I don't know, but this is clearly... I don't think it's incompetency at this point. I think it's taking their hand off of him as much as they can.
Yeah.
And I think they're willing to destroy the reputation of the Secret Service if it means getting rid of this existential threat to our country, or existential threat, as the Democrats and Kamala and Joe and the Democrat media say.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember me talking to you back in May or June and telling you I was surprised nobody had taken a shot at him yet, to kill him, because, I don't know why, these guys are lunatics. They want him dead.
Yes.
And even the rank and file, as far as I'm concerned, they don't care. I mean, they'll be happy to see him dead.
Most of them. There's people like you and me in there, trust me, but not enough. It's probably, my guess is about 30 to 40% max of people that support Trump. I appreciate your call, Jerry. All right, Kamala's interview was a huge disaster. And it's not just, I want you to hear for yourself. I'm not going to play the whole 11 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm going to play you some highlights. And these are all on my Twitter feed. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show. ChrisKrock, at Chris Crock Show. Particularly on Twitter. I will retweet it in a moment, so it's towards the very top of my Twitter feed. Also on Instagram and Facebook. Also same handle, at Chris Crock Show. ChrisKrock. Next, you're going to hear pieces of Kamala's first solo interview. Her second interview overall since running for election is stunning. Do you know that Trump's been assassinated twice, while Kamala's had 2 interviews? So they both 2 assassination attempts versus 2 interview attempts, 2 interviews. You do the Venn diagram, which I have a meme of it on my social media feeds. The Venn diagram shows Trump, and it says bullets, and then it says Kamala interviews, and then in the middle it says dodging for the Venn diagram. So Trump is dodging bullets, she's dodging interviews. Very good Venn diagram. Kamala loves Venn diagrams. Okay, next you're going to hear some highlights from her interview, and we'll talk about how much of a disaster you think it was. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227 on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Well. Would you look what I found? I told you. I knew this. I'm blown away that nobody has looked this up. But I just did, and it's real easy to do. It takes 2 seconds, but nobody thought to check this out. Do you remember how Kamala's best friend is in charge of ABC News? She's the president, I believe, of ABC News or the network, ABC Network, one of the two. But what you need to hear is this. I knew it was rigged. The debate was rigged because ABC ran it, because it's besties with Kamala, the lady in charge of ABC. And then guess who owns the ABC affiliate in Philadelphia that had the second interview? You guessed it, ABC Disney. The same people that rigged the ABC News debate, fake debate, are the same people that rigged the ABC News Philadelphia interview. Are you understanding this? It's still ABC Disney that owned the affiliate in Philadelphia where she sat down, whose president told this guy, if not, this guy knew the message was, take care of my best friend, make her look good. And they did. You know how? They edited this interview. They edited parts out. And what they didn't edit out is a disaster. I've got the highlights, and I'm going to retweet it again right now so you can see it towards the very top of my Twitter feed. I just did. It's from the Trump War Room, and it's a Twitter thread, and it's got several of the interview key points. Now, here's a highlight from Fox News, a quick rapid fire from Fox News on her interview.
When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn. You know? If
there's one thing that you wish Americans knew about who Kamala Harris is that you don't think they know yet, what would that be?
I love my family.
That's really the extent of it. It was a disaster. So my question for you, if you caught this 11-minute and 30-second, roughly, disaster. Oh, by the way, you want to know how bad this interview was? It's been hidden. It was like buried on Kamala's website as an interview. I heard on Fox News this afternoon on the 5, they said it's been buried. They don't want you to see it. And that's why they hide her and they don't make her available for interviews. 2 so far. She has as many interviews since she declared 2.5 months ago as Trump has had assassination attempts. The only question is are the assassination attempts going to outnumber the amount of interviews she has? I believe soon they will be, unfortunately. Here's some more from this interview. My question to you is, how do you think Kamala did in her first solo interview? Remember, her first interview was actually with her security blanket, Governor Tim Walz. How do you think she did in her first solo interview with Philadelphia ABC News affiliate? And are you connecting with her in this? I am not connecting with her in this, and that's what the big question. I'm like, there was an audience reportedly in this studio in Philadelphia, and I'm going to tell you right now, they're watching her and they're going, Who is this woman? What is going on? Is there anything there? And what do you think the audience in the room thought of it? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I think the only thing they can think other than she's fake and, oh my gosh, she really has no idea what she's talking about. But she's not Trump is the only excuse to vote for her over Trump now. Here, listen to this.
Talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people. What are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, construction workers and nurses and teachers. And I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, but a lot of people will relate to this. I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn, And
she continues to swallow like that. Did you hear that? She keeps swallowing. It's real weird. She's nervous.
And I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity. And that we as Americans have a beautiful character. We have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams and ambitions. So When I talk about building an opportunity economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people.
I mean, my gosh, there's nothing in here, is there? She doesn't know. She's literally having these massive, big hand gestures that are like screen tested, and she's reciting rote memory. Oh, by the way, these answers are almost exactly verbatim for what she said in the debate. She does not have a real answer from her heart or from her brain. It is literally what she has been memorizing and, in a way, delivering it with hand gestures and mannerisms that she's been told work, that she has rehearsed over and over and over again. Our lines are wide open. I want to hear from you right now. How do you think Kamala did in her first solo interview? And are you connecting with her in this? What do you think the audience in the room thought of it? If you were sitting in that room, in that studio audience, what would you think of this? You can see the clips I'm playing right now on my social media feed on Twitter, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show. Watch them for yourself. Here's another gem.
Look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable.
That's because of you and Joe. You're right. The American dream in housing is elusive. You and Joe made it that. The day Trump left office, the average mortgage in America was $1,700. Now it is $3,300. That's right. It's unattainable. That's what you did. Even with a $25,000 tax credit for a house or a credit, that's not going to help because the housing prices are going to raise by $25,000. According to all the experts, but not only that, they still won't be able to afford a $3,300 a month payment. You're right. It's unattainable because of you. All right. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. How do you think Kamala did in her first solo interview? I've got a little bit more to play for his highlights. And what do you think the audience in the room thought of it? And are you connecting with her? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. We continue with this next, but then also Democrats are betting that Harris will move to the left as a president. They know she's hiding the truth and that she will be further way left once she gets elected. I'll read you that damning story from The Hill next. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. All right, I just knew it. I knew it. Look, when I heard that that the affiliate that did the interview with Kamala that was a disaster, that came out late Friday night. We played some of that and talked about it a little bit, and we have the full interview and we got more information. I knew it. That station, that television station in Philadelphia, is owned and operated by ABC Disney. Don't you know that the reason why one of the reasons why ABC Network News allowed their moderators to be so insanely biased and only fact check Trump and let Kamala get away with everything is because they hate Trump, and because the woman in charge of ABC News, she is a Disney senior executive, and her portfolio includes ABC News. And so she went once again to a place that her friend made sure to have her back. So this guy interviewing her knew he had to go easy on her because his ultimate boss, his boss's boss, was besties with her and is watching out for her girl, for her sister. Let me see. I played to the business one, which is a total disaster. She had almost nothing. She had almost no information whatsoever. She just gave a word salad for almost 2 minutes. Here's the other one. She admits she destroys the American dream. I played that one for you. She said the American dream is elusive. It's just not actually attainable for housing, and that's exactly right, because she and Joe made the average mortgage cost go up 2.5 times what it used to be from when they took over. Here's another piece of audio from the interview, and the questions I'm asking you are, how do you think Kamala did in her first solo interview in Philadelphia there, and are you connecting with her in this? And what do you think the audience in the room thought of it? I think they thought this woman literally is not home. She's acting, she's reading recited lines, she has no idea what she's talking about. If they still want to vote for her, they're thinking she's not Trump. Here is the question from the anchor. Can you name one single difference between Joe Biden and you?
Wonder if there are one or two spots, policy areas or approaches where you would say, I'm a different person.
Well, I'm obviously not Joe Biden. And, I offer a new generation of leadership. And so, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where it's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work. And maybe focus. I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
That was that nervous swallow again. Did you hear that? She does it all the time when she's doing an interview. She gets super nervous. Here, let me go back. Sorry.
I offer a new generation of leadership. And so, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where it's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work. Maybe focusing on, again, the aspirations and the dreams, but also just recognizing that at this moment in time, some of the stuff we could take for granted years ago, we can't take for granted anymore. For example, another plan that I have that is a new approach is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families.
Her hand gestures are going off again, like this weird coordinated way, like it's massive, big V she's shaping in the air in front of her face, and other things. Let me continue on with what she said though. But that gulp was just amazing.
Take for granted years ago, we can't take for granted anymore. For example, another plan that I have that is a new approach is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families for the first year of their child's life, because that is obviously a very critical stage of development of a child. And a lot of young parents need the help to buy a car seat or a crib or clothes for their kids. And so
there's another gulp. Did you hear that? Another gulp. Another nervous gulp.
Approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years.
What is that? So don't look at now my failures. Look in 10, 20 years from now when I can't be the president anymore. I think this is a total and complete disaster, and I think she's vapid, and she's been coached to do these huge hand gestures and is nervous and gulps a lot. Let me continue on with this. I got one more 24-second interview, or maybe two more quick ones. There are a couple, 20, 30 seconds. But I want to hear from you. How do you think she did in her first solo interview? Are you connecting with her on this? And what do you think the audience in the room thought of it? I think they didn't connect with her. I think they're like, oh my gosh, this woman can't be our president.
My approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years to catch up to the 21st century around, again, capacity, but also challenges.
I mean, what is this woman talking about? Nothing. Here's another little piece. Her radical gun control agenda.
I feel very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban. They're literally tools of war. They were literally designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. I say we need universal.
Okay, this poor woman doesn't know what she's talking about, but there she is on the gun stuff.
What do you understand his appeal to be, and how do you speak to his voters, or maybe people who just share his values but are open to something else?
Talking about Trump.
I, based on experience and a lived experience, no. In my heart, I know. In my soul, I know that the vast majority of us as Americans have so much more in common than what separates us. And I also believe that I am accurate in knowing that most Americans want a leader who brings us together as Americans and not someone who professes to be a leader who is trying to have us point our fingers at each other.
That's what she has to say to Trump supporters? That's not much for me at all. Anyway, I think it's a disaster, and I think this is why they hid the interview on their campaign site, according to Fox News, as reported on the 5 this afternoon. I think it's a disaster. I think she's a disaster, and all they can do is have scripted things, stick to the script. Unlike Joe, she's not like unaware of where she's at or what day it is. But she does not want you to know who she is, and she doesn't really know who she is other than her very hard left, far left policies. 800-288-WBAP is our number. How do you think Kamala did in her first solo interview? Those are some of the highlights. Are you connecting with her in this? And what do you think the audience in the room thought of it? 800-288-WBAP. I think the more interviews she does, the more faked and rigged it'll appear, and the more vapid she will be. And I think that's why she's a bad candidate. And I think that's why she never even made it to the first vote in the primary when she ran for president 4 years ago. And I think that's why they appointed her without any votes this time, because they knew she could not win if she was roughed up by other Democrats in the primary. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And then, as I promised, here it is, must read from my buddy Eric Erickson. This is from The Hill, actually. He recommends it as a must read. The highlights from this Hill piece. Democrat lawmakers are giving Vice President Harris a pass on her policy flip-flops and efforts to lead back toward the political center. They are confident that she's still a progressive at heart and will fight hard to achieve the progressive goals on tax policy, climate change, and other priorities. Even the Senate's most liberal Democrats, remember, she was more liberal than the most liberal senators for in 2019 and 2020 as a senator. Even the Senate's most liberal Democrats say they aren't worried about Harris backing away from her previous support for Medicare for all or fracking ban, because they believe she will push hard to rein in insurance and pharmaceutical companies or crack down on fossil fuel consumption. I'm from Massachusetts. She's from California. On climate change, abortion, radical racial, LGBTQ issues, we are absolutely in agreement with her agenda, said very liberal Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey, a leading state Senate progressive who had co-sponsored Medicare for All, the Green New Deal, and other ambitious liberal policy goals. So absolutely, they believe she's going to be a far leftist progressive that she always has been and always is. She'll just do it after the election. Remember, she hired, and very few people know this, she hired a woman who was in charge of running the campaign for the newly elected British Prime Minister. He is a far left progressive. He hid his agenda and made himself look more moderate to get elected. And now that he's been in office for 6 months or a year, he has come out and been radically progressive. He's been a radical leftist progressive after elected. And Kamala hired that woman that was in charge of that campaign to come fly to America and to help her with her campaign. In other words, please do what you did in Great Britain to win the election. I am a radical leftist progressive. Can you help hide me so I can win and then pivot and to be who I am and take the face mask off and be a radical leftist progressive? And that's what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. Like she said in her interview with CNN, with her and Tim Walz, she said, my values haven't changed, and I totally believe her on that. And I'm grateful she told us that, because that tells you everything. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we have a massive update on all the Taylor Swift garbage. Trump is now taking advantage of Taylor saying that we should vote for Kamala, and he has taken some of her merchandise and swapped it out for his logos and his face with the same kind of a scheme on T-shirts, and they're going like gangbusters. I cannot wait to share that with you. Also, Brittany Mahomes, the wife of the number one QB and like two-time Super Bowl winner, Pat Mahomes, she is now apparently questioning her support about Trump after he has said negative things about Taylor Swift. She said she's friends with Taylor Swift. And what if Taylor Swift had endorsed Donald Trump? What if she endorsed him instead of Kamala? How that would work out for her. All that is coming up next on the Chris Crock Show at News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Well, the Wall Street Journal has a column today about if Taylor Swift had endorsed President Trump, and it's pretty funny. It might go something like this if she had endorsed a Republican anti-hero. The billionaire has gotten rich by ripping off fans, avoiding taxes. They would say about Taylor Swift, avoiding, because she pulled her music to sell to a highest bidder from Spotify or something, raking in $200 million from streaming royalties, etc. So if she had endorsed Trump instead, then the left would have attacked her. The billionaire has gotten rich by ripping off fans, avoiding taxes, and harming competitors. Time for the government to break her up. Unlike rival artists, Swift writes, performs, and owns her own compositions. This vertical integration allows her to charge exorbitant royalties and ticket prices. Look at this. Tickets for her Eras tour on average cost $240. That's the price for admission, not including food, drink, or Swiftie swag, says the Journal. VIP passes include memorabilia, go for $900. How dare she make young women choose between paying for groceries and rent and going to a concert, the left would say about her. The FTC, Biden's FTC, would call for a cap on Swift's ticket prices at a reasonable price, maybe $20, and ban her junk fees. Concert goers shouldn't have to pay $65 for "I Love You, It's Ruining My Life" sweatshirt. Her romance with the Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce also unfairly boosts her star power, letting them charge more for endorsements, they would say. As Swift writes, when one song, two is better than one, Kelce is reportedly signing a $100 million podcast deal with Amazon's Wonderly. By breaking up the couple, the government could reduce their royalties and ticket prices. They would say the self-described mastermind also dodges taxes on her full income, which includes $125 million in real estate and music catalog worth $600 million. And they said I was a cheat. I guess it must be true, Swift acknowledges in her song Florida. Anyway, they would also go after somebody. How much is her brand worth? Easily billions, she might say. She does in the song that her reputation has never been worse. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, also, they would nail her for emitting 576 times more CO2 than the average American does. Do you understand that? She literally puts 506 times as much CO2 in the environment as the average American does. She's right when she says, "Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me." She's right. That's right. That's good. Anyways, Trump infuriates her today by launching a new range of merchandise inspired by the Eras tour. It literally looks like her t-shirt and stuff, but it's got Trump's face all over it in different poses like he's her. It's beautiful. And her fans are going apoplectic against him, and they're demanding that he gets sued. They're threatening lawsuits. Nothing's going to stop. It's a parody, and there's no confusion between the authentic product, and therefore there's no suit. Brittany Mahomes is now questioning her support of DJT after his blistering takedown of her. It left her, quote, shaken to the core. Oh, gosh. Anyways, there you go. Orange Man is so bad, isn't he?